My sister stood up at the head of the table, champagne glass raised, and announced she'd inherited everything. $2.3 million. The house. The trust, all of it. The entire family erupted in applause. Our aunts cried. Our cousins hugged her. Someone popped a second bottle. I sat frozen, fork halfway to my mouth. Rebecca hadn't visited our mother in 2 years. I'd been there every week. Every doctor's appointment. Every midnight call from the memory care facility. How does the golden child who forgot Mom even existed walk away with her entire estate? Then Mom's lawyer cleared his throat. He stood slowly, briefcase in hand. He looked straight past Rebecca. Actually, he said, I need to speak with your sister. He was looking at me. The table went silent. Rebecca's smile froze. I had 3 documents in my bag that night. 3 pieces of paper that would flip everything. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Drop your location and what time you're watching from in the comments. And if this story sounds familiar, hit that subscribe button. You're going to want to see how this ends. Rebecca was always the favorite. The cheerleader. The sorority president. The one in every Christmas card. Front and center. I was the quiet one. The one who moved to Seattle for work. The one who called every Sunday and flew home whenever Mom needed me. When Dad died 6 years ago, things shifted. Mom started forgetting appointments. Mixing up her medications. Calling me at 3 in the morning asking where Dad had gone. Rebecca sent flowers. Twice. I took a leave from work. I moved Mom's bills to autopay. I set up her pill organizers. I toured 4 memory care facilities before I found one that felt like home. I kept everything. Call logs, bank transfers, every single email from Mom's estate lawyer, Jeffrey Brennan. In Mom's last year, I made every decision. I sold her car when she couldn't drive safely anymore. I packed up the house she'd lived in for 30 years. I sat with her on the hard days when she didn't recognize me. Rebecca posted photos from Turks and Caicos. Mom passed 3 weeks before that dinner. Pneumonia. It was fast. Rebecca arrived the day of the funeral in head-to-toe black Chanel. She cried beautifully. Everyone hugged her first. I had a binder in my car, 2 inches thick. Every care decision I'd made. Every receipt. Every signed form. I didn't know I'd need it. I didn't know Rebecca had been planning this for months. 2 days before the dinner, Rebecca called me. I talked to Mom's lawyer, she said. No, hello. No, how are you holding up? Which lawyer? Jeffrey. He told me Mom changed everything in the final months. She wanted me to handle the estate. To carry on the family legacy. I sat down. My hands went cold. When did you talk to Jeffrey? That's not the point. The point is, Mom wanted this. She told me herself. Rebecca, you hadn't seen her in over a year. Silence. Then her voice went sharp. She called me. We talked all the time. You don't know everything. Then why didn't Jeffrey tell me? Because it wasn't your business anymore. She took a breath. Her tone softened, but it felt rehearsed. Look, I know you did a lot. I want to make this easy for you. I'm offering you $40,000 for your trouble. We can skip probate. I'll wire it as soon as you sign the waiver. Waiver? Jeffrey's sending it over. Just a formality. Sign it and we're done. You can go back to Seattle and move on. Which Jeffrey are we talking about, Rebecca? She hung up. 10 minutes later, an email arrived. Subject line, waiver of inheritance claim. It was a PDF, DocuSign ready. $40,000 in exchange for any and all rights to Mom's estate. I didn't sign it. I forwarded it to Jeffrey Brennan, the real one. Friday night. The dinner. Rebecca had invited everyone. Aunts, uncles, cousins. People I hadn't seen since Dad's funeral. The dining room was set like a wedding reception. Place cards, flowers, champagne on ice. I walked in and knew I'd been set up. Halfway through the meal, Rebecca stood. She pulled a piece of paper from her purse. Letterhead at the top. Official looking. I want to share something, she said. Her voice cracked beautifully. She read from the page. Last will and testament of Margaret Ann Donovan. I leave my entire estate, including my home, financial accounts, and trust assets to my daughter, Rebecca Lynn Donovan. The room exploded. Applause. Tears. Our uncle, a retired judge, raised his glass. To Rebecca. Your mother would be so proud. I sat frozen. My throat closed. I couldn't breathe. Rebecca slid the waiver across the table. A pen on top. Sign now, she said quietly. Or I'll contest any claim you try to make. I'll tie this up in probate for years. You'll get nothing. My cousin leaned over and whispered, I thought you were the responsible one. I had Jeffrey's last email on my phone, but my hands were shaking too hard to open it. I thought I'd lost before I'd even started. Then someone stood up at the far end of the table. Jeffrey Brennan. Rebecca's face went white. What are you doing here? She asked. Your sister invited me? He said calmly. He looked at me. I nodded. Jeffrey walked to the head of the table. He set down his briefcase, opened it, pulled out a single document. This, he said, is the Revocable Living Trust of Margaret Ann Donovan. Executed April 10th, 2023. 14 months ago. He placed it on the table in front of Rebecca. It names your sister as primary beneficiary and successor trustee. Rebecca didn't touch it. That's fake, she said. Jeffrey pulled out a second copy. This one had a county recorder's stamp across the top. This is the recorded version. Signed by your mother. Witnessed by 2 paralegals from my firm. Notarized by a licensed notary public in the state. He slid it toward our uncle. The room went silent. Our uncle picked it up. Read the first page. Looked at the notary seal. Then at Rebecca. This is real, he said quietly. Jeffrey stayed calm. Ms. Rebecca, the letter you just read is not a will. It's a personal note. It has no legal standing. Rebecca's lawyer, a college friend who did real estate closings, closed his notebook. Jeffrey looked at me. There's more we need to discuss. In private. Rebecca didn't back down. 48 hours later, she filed a petition in probate court to invalidate the trust. Her new lawyer, a litigator this time, claimed Mom lacked mental capacity when she signed. That I had unduly influenced her. That I'd manipulated a vulnerable elderly woman for financial gain. The petition asked for a full forensic accounting of every dollar I'd spent on Mom's care. Depositions of her doctors, her neighbors, her memory care staff, me. Then Rebecca went public. She gave an interview to a grief support blogger. The post went live 3 days later. The headline, When Caregivers Become Predators. She never used my name. She didn't have to. Everyone in our family knew exactly who she meant. My phone blew up. Cousins I hadn't spoken to in years suddenly had opinions. How could you take advantage of your own mother? We always knew you were the greedy one. Rebecca's lawyer sent another demand, this time with a deadline. Settle for $25,000 and walk away, or face a public trial. Full discovery, subpoenas, character witnesses. Your career won't survive this, the letter said. Mom's house sat in limbo. The accounts were frozen pending investigation. I couldn't sell anything. Couldn't access anything. Rebecca texted me at midnight. You won't survive discovery. Settle now or lose everything. Including your job. I stared at my phone for a long time. Then I called Jeffrey. I need to see everything, I said. Every document you have. I was hoping you'd say that, he replied. Can you come in tomorrow? Jeffrey's office. 9 the next morning. He laid out Rebecca's entire case on the conference table. Then he opened a second file. Your mother knew this might happen, he said. She prepared for it. First document, a signed affidavit from Dr. Amita Patel, Mom's neurologist. Dated 3 months before Mom passed. Patient demonstrates full cognitive capacity. No evidence of dementia, coercion, or diminished decision-making ability. Second document, a notarized letter, handwritten, in Mom's looping cursive. Jeffrey slid it across the table. I recognized her handwriting immediately. She'd listed every visit I'd made in the last 2 years. Every bill I'd paid. Every night I'd stayed over when she was scared. At the bottom, one line. Rebecca has not been part of my life. My daughter has sacrificed everything. This is my choice. My hands shook. I couldn't speak. Jeffrey pulled out one more thing. A tablet. He pressed play. Mom's face filled the screen. She was sitting in this same conference room. Date stamp in the corner, September 15th, 2023. She looked straight at the camera. My name is Margaret Ann Donovan. I am of sound mind. I am making this statement of my own free will. She spoke for 12 minutes. Her voice was clear, strong. She named me. She explained why. She said exactly what she wanted. The video ended. Jeffrey looked at me. She knew, sweetheart. She knew. There's one more thing, Jeffrey said. He pulled a stapled report from the file. Credit header at the top. We subpoenaed Rebecca's financials as part of discovery. He handed it to me. I read the summary line. Total unsecured debt, $340,872. Credit cards maxed. A condo loan in default. 3 personal judgments from creditors. She's been in collections for 9 months, Jeffrey said. She needed this estate. Badly. I flipped the page. The waiver she'd sent me. The one with Jeffrey's firm letterhead. He pointed at the logo. That's not ours. Look at the font. She made it in Canva. I stared at the document. She'd forged it, all of it. Jeffrey pulled up another file on his laptop. Metadata report. The PDF she sent you was created on October 22nd, 2 days after your mother's funeral. He turned the screen toward me. File name, last_will_mom_donovan_final.pdf, created October 22nd, 2023. 11:47 p.m. She never spoke to your mother in those final months, Jeffrey said. I checked our call logs. She contacted the memory care facility once. June 12th. Asked if your mom had mentioned any money. Didn't ask about her health. The staff flagged the call. I closed my eyes. Now I understood. It was never about mom. It was never about family. It was desperation. And greed. I sat in Jeffrey's office for a long time. Just breathing. What do you want to do? He asked. I thought about Mom, the video, her voice. I thought about Rebecca at that dinner. The performance, the fake tears. I thought about the cousins who'd turned on me. The blog post, the midnight threats. I want the truth on record, I said. Not buried in a settlement. On record. Jeffrey nodded slowly. Then we file a counter motion. Dismiss her petition with prejudice. Request a finding of fraud upon the court. Will that work? With what we have? Yes. I don't want money from her, I said. I don't want sanctions or damages. I just want a hearing. I want every piece of evidence entered into public record. Jeffrey picked up his pen. I'll have the motion filed by end of day. I stood. My hands had stopped shaking. One more thing, I said. I want her to hear Mom's voice. In court, in front of everyone. Jeffrey smiled. It wasn't cruel. Just certain. Done. I walked out of his office, sat in my car, and let myself cry. Not for Rebecca. For Mom. For the woman who'd known exactly what her daughter would do and prepared anyway. The hearing was set for November 14th. I had 11 days, and nothing left to lose. November 14th, probate courtroom, County Civic Center. The gallery was half full. Our uncle sat in the back row, arms crossed. 2 of my cousins. A handful of people I didn't recognize. Rebecca sat at the petitioner's table with her lawyer. She didn't look at me. Commissioner Helen Yu took the bench. This is a petition to invalidate a revocable trust on grounds of incapacity and undue influence. Petitioner, you may present your opening. Rebecca's lawyer stood. He was polished, confident. Your Honor, this case is about a daughter who exploited her mother's declining mental state for financial gain. The respondent isolated the decedent, controlled her finances, and coerced her into signing documents she did not understand. We ask the court to void the trust and distribute the estate equitably. He sat. Commissioner Yu looked at Jeffrey. Respondent? Jeffrey stood, calm, unhurried. Your Honor, we move to dismiss the petition and request a finding of attempted fraud upon this court. We have 3 exhibits. Proceed. Exhibit A, the trust. Signed, witnessed, notarized, recorded. The commissioner reviewed it. No objection from Rebecca's side. Exhibit A is admitted. Exhibit B, Dr. Patel's affidavit. Jeffrey read the key line aloud. The patient demonstrated full cognitive capacity, clear intent, and no signs of coercion or diminished ability. Admitted. Exhibit C, the video. Jeffrey handed a tablet to the clerk. She connected it to the courtroom screen. Mom's face filled the wall. For 12 minutes, the room was silent. Mom's voice, clear, strong, explaining everything. My daughter has been my rock. Rebecca has not called me in over a year. This is my decision. Mine alone. I heard someone in the gallery cry. The video ended. Commissioner Yu removed her glasses. Exhibit C is admitted. Jeffrey wasn't done. Your Honor, we also offer Exhibit D, a metadata analysis of the document Rebecca Donovan submitted to her family, falsely claiming it was her mother's will. He projected it on the screen. File creation date, 2 days after the funeral. The courtroom went still. Commissioner Yu looked at Rebecca's lawyer. Counselor, did your client submit a falsified document to her family in an attempt to coerce a waiver of inheritance? Silence. Counselor, answer the question. Rebecca's lawyer stood slowly. Your Honor, we request a recess to confer with our client. Denied. Answer the question. He looked at Rebecca. She said nothing. We withdraw the petition, Your Honor. Commissioner Yu's voice went cold. Petition to invalidate the trust is dismissed with prejudice. The trust is valid, binding, and shall be executed as written. Further, respondent is awarded attorney fees and costs. We are adjourned. The gavel fell. Rebecca stood. She didn't look back. She left through the side door. Her lawyer stayed behind to negotiate the fees. I sat in the silent courtroom and felt the weight lift. Rebecca paid the attorney fees 2 weeks later. $18,000. She didn't contest the order. Didn't appeal. Didn't call. I heard through a cousin that she moved to Arizona in January. She's working in pharmaceutical sales now. I don't wish her harm. I really don't. I hope she finds peace. I hope she deals with whatever drove her to do what she did. But I also don't need her in my life. The estate settled in late January. I sold Mom's house in March. It went to a young family with 2 kids. The mom sent me a photo of them on move-in day, standing on the porch Mom used to love. I used part of the proceeds to establish a scholarship, the Margaret Ann Donovan Memorial Scholarship for non-traditional students. It's for people who are working full-time while caring for aging parents. People who are doing what I did. People who don't get seen. We awarded the first grant last spring, $5,000 to a single dad finishing his nursing degree. Mom would have loved that. The rest of the estate went into a trust for my own future care, so my kids will never be put in the position I was in. I kept one thing from the house, Mom's recipe box, the wooden one with the faded rooster painted on top. It sits on my kitchen counter now. Some mornings I pull out a card and make her coffee cake, the one with the crumb topping and too much cinnamon. I can hear her laugh when I do. That's the inheritance that actually mattered. Not the money, not the house. The memory of a woman who knew her worth, who set boundaries, who prepared for the worst and hoped for the best. Rebecca wanted money. I wanted my mother's truth to be heard. In the end, I got both. But only one of them healed me. Our uncle reached out in February. He apologized for clapping at that dinner, for not asking questions. We meet for coffee once a month now. He's teaching me how to play chess. Badly. I'm learning that forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It just means I'm not carrying Rebecca's choices anymore. Boundaries aren't walls. They're the lines that let love be honest. Mom taught me that, even after she was gone. So here's my question for you. Have you ever had to fight for the truth in your own family? What would you have done differently? What boundary would you set? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story meant something to you, hit that subscribe button. We share real stories like this every week. Remember, keep your receipts. But don't let them define you. This has been a fictionalized dramatization and is not legal or financial advice. But the lesson is real. Protect your peace. Honor your truth. And never be afraid to stand up for what's right, even when the whole room is clapping for someone else.